So let's go ahead and get started kind of thinking through what this needs. We are going to need to customize and add some coloring, some custom coloring in here. So we probably have a typeface too we need to worry about. So let's come over to the style guide and I'll grab everything we need right here. So let's grab this soft red and this cyan. We've also got other colors. So let's see, we'll just call these like neutral 1, 2, 3, and 4 or something like that. Font size 18. So we do have a font here too we need to pay attention to. So I'll do that as well. So let's come over to our Tailwind file and extend our theme. So this adds additional colors to it. And here's where this new 3.1 Tailwind is nice because you get to have reference to all of the different types available to you. So if you just hit Control and Spacebar, now I can automatically grab like colors and I don't have to look up what that would be. So let's call these what they are. So I think it was like, what they say, red, something, soft red. So let's do this. Let's call it accent 1, just because I'm going to have, you know, several different. I already have red as part of Tailwind. I don't want to duplicate that. We'll call this accent 2. And then we've got neutral 1. And then let's just copy this down a few times. And I'm going to grab all these and I'll use something called text pastry and paste those in there. All right, now one after the other, let's paste these in. This is a clipboard manager I use called Pastebot. I think I've done a video on it before, if you're interested. All right, these all need to be surrounded by quotation marks. Now I think we're good to go. Let me come and open back up my index.html. Let's just change this to accent 1. And already that Tailwind extension is pulling that in. If you don't have that, it's super helpful. See Tailwind. I wouldn't write Tailwind without this. This one right here, this Tailwind IntelliSense, it makes it to where even stuff that you customize gets pulled in and shows for you in the IntelliSense, which is really nice. Okay, so we got that set. Let's go ahead and also set out, let's see, font family, like that. And let's go ahead and just override the sans. And this will be, let me pull this up. Look at our style guide. And we need 400 and 700. Is that right? So let's grab 400. I don't know if we'll need the italic, but let's go ahead and grab it. Same thing here. And we will, see, add this to the top. Let's just do that in our HTML. And then we'll grab that as part of our font family. Now, I don't exactly remember font family, how to do this. So let's see. Okay, I thought there was something kind of funky. So you got to put it inside of an array. And I guess this needs to be in quotation marks as well. So we'll do DM sans and then sans serif. And that should be good to go. So I'll save that and then jump back over here. And let's add the style sheet, this link out to that font there. All right, cool. Come back over this way. This should have updated this font. Let's just make sure that it did. If I can see. Computed UI sans serif. Nope. Hard pass on that. Did not do that. Make sure I didn't mess up something here. Sans, font family. Maybe I have to actually put this up in the theme, not the extend, since I'm overwriting. I can't remember. I think that's how that works. Come back over here. Still not seeing that font family come through properly. Well, we'll worry about that later. Let's see, what other style guide things do we have to worry about? Font size 18. I've got two views to look at, which they're pretty similar, so I think we should be good. All right, let's go ahead and remove this. Let's see. This isn't too much to copy again, or type in again, but I guess we'll go ahead and leave that for now. And let's start styling this thing out. So we don't want this to be, let's see, my background is not coming through either. So there's an unexpected identifier. So no wonder something's messing up. Okay, look at your errors, people. Extend. Yeah, we already did that. Let me just jump back out to my terminal. And it just killed it all together. Now if we start this up again. And now if I come over here to localhost 5000 or 550. Okay, there we go. We were looking at the wrong one to start with. Computed. It's all working. All right, cool. So let me go ahead and pull this back down again. And hopefully if we have an error, I remember that I've done that. So let's first of all set text. I'm trying to remember small, medium. Let's do large. That gives us our 18 pixels. That's what we need. And let's see, do I need anything else here? Maybe let's pull this up over this way. Or let's pull up this desktop design. All right, and that way we can just kind of float between these two. All right, so I do need my background color. So we'll do like accent, or not accent, neutral. Oh, I already had a neutral. But we can do neutral 1, that works. I think it was like that, neutral 1, neutral 2, neutral 3. Looks like maybe neutral 4. Maybe it was neutral 3. All right, and then let's put everything else in the middle. So let's have a main tag here. And actually this is gonna have display of grid. Hey, welcome, Fozzie. And we'll do place items center. And we'll do a min height of screen. And that should put everything in the center, I think. Oh, I don't have anything in there. So let's go ahead and just copy that. For now, I'll just paste it in there. Okay, so there we go. I do want some kind of padding. I don't exactly remember. Do I have anything else in here I need to worry about? I don't think so. So let's go ahead and open up our mobile design and get that stacked up too. So I don't know exactly what that would be. Probably like a full rem all the way around. So let's just do that for now. And then we'll probably have some kind of max width on that as well. All right, cool. Let's close down that sidebar. And we've got that top little area. So let's think through how to style this. So that my balance, I don't know that needs to be anything besides just a div with text in it. For these sections, if I want them to be keyboard navigatable, they probably need to be, I don't know, maybe buttons. And when you click on them, they show that thing, that hover state. So maybe I'll make these buttons weirdly enough. And then I think all the rest of that's pretty basic. So let's do that. So this top section will just be a div with a background of accent 1. And do like a padding 4 all the way around, rounded medium. Start there. And got my balance. So let's pull that in here. And this should probably be maybe the H1. I mean, maybe that's the main thing. And this is like an H2. Let's do that. So we'll make this an H2. And give this a class here. And we'll do text neutral 4. So I think that was our white color. Okay, and let's leave it just like that. This I am going to need to wrap though, and I'll just do it in a grid with a gap of like 4 to start with, something like that. Because right below here is where I'll have this value here. Oops, so we'll close this off. And we'll do the same class, but we'll add some extra stuff to it too. So we'll also need a font, let's see, text large, 2XL, font bold. Doesn't seem to really be that different, the font bold. Oh, there it goes. Just takes some time. Let's make this gap a little bit smaller. And then this will be a flex with justify between. And let's go ahead and add another section here then. And this just needs to have this icon. Let's see, do I have images? Favicon logo. Maybe it's my logo. So actually, let's just grab this right here. And let's just add this directly in here. Right here. There we go. And let's go items center. And so we'll keep everything spaced out properly. And see, it's just sitting at the top of its, oh, it's in a div. So maybe let's separate or just make this a SVG. There we go. And then we do want some kind of gap here. So you can do a gap, which is, I mean, it is supported in modern browsers, but not in everything. Maybe we should do a space X, which is like that that margin hack trick. Eventually it'll space out because these are all grid children, and so I'll have them all stretch. So for now, let's call that good. All right, back over this way. Maybe I should go ahead and set this as a max width. So we'll do width full, and then max width of like 2XL, something like that. That's not going to change anything. Yeah, because it's they're good children, so they're going to respond to their parent. So let's go ahead and come down here, and that's our top upper section. This section here, like I said, I think we'll make these buttons for now. So spending last 7 days will be our H1, I think. And actually, maybe I can just copy this down. Let's just change this to neutral 4. And then this will be an H1. And this just needs to change the text size. So we'll do like 3XL maybe. Might be a little too big. And let's see. This is place item center, so maybe what we should do, let me move this stuff up to the body. And then let's get rid of all that and say max width will be 2XL, something like that. That's too big. XL? Still too big. Medium. Small. It's hard to know exactly what this is as far as their design, but good enough for me. And then let's add a gap here as well. So we'll do grid and then gap 4. Space that out. All right, cool. These probably need a little bit more rounding, so let's grab both of these with Command D and hit large. That'll work for me. And let me come down this way. Neutral 4, that works. My balance needs to say spending last 7 days. So let's do that. And maybe let's back this off just a touch on the size. Spending last 7 days, that'll work. Get rid of this SVG. We don't need that anymore. And let's see, I can actually probably just make this a grid. And let's get rid of all that. Okay. And this next section, so we've got a header, or our heading here. This next section will be our chart itself. So I'm trying to think how we might do this in a way that is accessible. I think there's some kind of group we can do, but I'm not totally sure what that is. So that maybe let's mark that as something to do later. So I'll say to do, make accessible. Let's also pull live data if we have time, which hopefully we will, but we'll see. All right, so this next little section here, this will be, we'll give this a gap of like 12, space it out quite a bit from the bottom section. And then this will be a gap of 2, that's fine. So what we'll have is the Or maybe what we should do is make it a flex. So what I'm deciding is basically should these things be their own separate thing with these below it, but that might be hard to line up. So let's just stack these together like this and then flex them, and that way we can flex grow them too. So we'll say flex, and inside here is where we'll have a div, and for each of these, like I said, I think I want these to be a button maybe. How's that for very non-committal? And for right now, this will just be like where the bar is, and this will say, again, I'm not totally sure how to make this accessible, but maybe we'll make this, you know, I think we can do this with an ARIA label on the entire div. Maybe this whole div should be the button. Let's do that. So let's get rid of this, and that way they can just focus on the entire thing, including the name. And what we can do is set an ARIA label, and we'll say Monday's spending was, and again, we would do this dynamically eventually, but whatever that would be. Do I have a number? just randomly? Oh, you know what? There was that JSON file. Okay, so Monday spending right here. So we'll say Monday spending was that. And that way, when you were to focus on this, it'll actually pull that in as well. All right, and then we'll have two things in here. Let's maybe have, I guess we could have an SVG. But to make sure it flexes properly, maybe this should be, oh, at least have a paragraph here that says mun, like that. And this should be class. We'll set this to text extra small maybe. And then we'll set this to, okay, yeah, that's right. I forget I've got to wait on the CLI tool. I keep wanting it to be instant. And then we'll do text, neutral. Let's look at the design. Yeah, so that should be right. And then maybe on top of this here, just trying to think how to do this with a focus state properly. Let's stick with this for now. Let's just do a div. So we'll do background accent 2, and we'll do width full and height like 48 or something like that. This should be accent 1, I guess. And then this also needs to be rounded, small, or maybe medium, something like that. And maybe it's just the top section that's rounded. Nope, the whole thing. But that might be a little too much. So we'll do a rounded small. So for now, let's leave that as is. And let's just move all these down. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let's change this to, so this will be Tuesday. This will be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All right, cool. So they should be all set there. Let's now stretch them out. So they're all flex. Let's go justify between. And that should stretch all those out. Now they're only going the width of their text there. So let's go to each of these buttons. So I'll grab one of these and hit Command-Shift-L, and that will get me inside of here. And then let's go for all these and go grow. And then I also want, actually, let's just do this. Let's do flex 1. That should allow us to stretch out. And we'll do a gap of 2 or something like that. All right, what is this? What does this give me? That should, maybe what I just need is a shrink 0, and that way they all stay the same. This delay is going to kill me. Something's happening. let's do this. We'll grow, shrink. Let's grab all these again. Command Shift L. We'll go shrink, and then we'll set our basis to full. So it tries to stretch all the way across. And assuming I didn't mess up something, something should happen. So they're only taking up the amount they need, but I want them to actually all be the exact same size. Maybe what I need to do is set an actual value here. Let's just set this and see if that changes anything. And you can do arbitrary values like that in Tailwind. All right, let's come back to that. It shouldn't be that difficult, but I just need to figure out how to make those stretch properly. Oh, you know what? I'm setting all this on the wrong thing. This needs to be set on the button itself. So that could be a problem. So let's grab all those, copy them, back up here. Let's add a class. And now see what that does. Hey, there we go. Let's grab these again. Except this time, let's just move it at flex 1. Okay. 4, 3, something like that. Okay, and we'll set the amount, the height here later on. All right, let's finish the design itself, and then we will finish everything else up. So we've got a line here. I guess we could make that a horizontal rule. Nobody says we can't. Let's see, and this would be, oh yeah, that's self-closing. And this is below all that. Let me just make sure I get oriented properly. So let's close this down. Okay, so we're right below here. Why did everything change on me suddenly? Let me just move back here. I think I might have. Okay, there we go. I think it just, I have an extension that changes tags when you select one, so I think it changed that when I moved it back to an H1. Or a header row. Horizontal row, whatever those are called. All right, so let's add that in here. Let's just do a div, so that way we have a little more control. So I'll do a height of like 1 or something like that. We'll do width full, background neutral 2, maybe something like that. All right, so that's too much. So let's just do an arbitrary value here of like point. Let's do 1 pixel and change this to neutral 3 maybe. There we go. Maybe let's make this 2. I'm pretty good with that. Maybe let's mix up this gap. Where's my gap for this section? Here we go, gap 12. Let's set this something to more like gap 6. So it's a little tighter, and then what we can do is just come here on this one and say we want a margin top of 10 maybe. And that should space us out from the section up here above. There we go. Whenever it decides to refresh. All right, so looks decent to me. I guess this also needs to be font bold, but the rest of that looks okay. Probably also need some spacing here, I guess. So let's go ahead and do that first, I guess. So I'll come in here, and we'll just grab all of these buttons here with a class of flex 1. And we'll also set these to grids themselves with gap of 2. Gap 3, something like that. All right, and then that should be good. So on the other side, we've got this section here. It'll be the same kind of stuff we did up top, so maybe let's just grab that. So let's grab this right here, and we'll add that in down below. So this would be just below here. Cool. I should be able to get rid of this though, and that. and that. We'll change this to, let's see, all of these are defaulting to like a black color, I think. So maybe what we can do is just set that globally everywhere. So we'll say font on the main or the body here. Let's just do it on the body. So we'll say text is accent, or I think it was neutral 1. So it should be that all those inherit that unless they're told otherwise. Let's just double check that's happening. Yeah, cool. All right, so we've got that. And this is supposed to be a lighter color. This is supposed to be a darker color. But the rest of that should be pretty similar to how we set up that top section. Let's get rid of this SVG. Ain't nobody need that. And my balance, that works for an H2, I think. So this would be an H2. This will be an H1. And then this one down here will be an H2 as well. So total of this month. And let's see. Total this month is in like that gray color, neutral. Probably not that, probably like a neutral 3. Maybe it is that. No, that'd be our, there we go, neutral 2. And then below that, this needs to be our normal color. And we can set this to this color, or this value right here. Okay, so total this month, looks pretty decent to me. That might need to be a little bit bigger, but I think that looks good. Then let's copy this down. Let's move this inside here just so we can kind of keep spacing correct. Move this over. And this needs to be 2.4 and then from last month. So let's switch these up. So this is going to be down here. And this will say from last month right here. And this will say 2.4. And I think this does need to be a little bit bigger. And font bold. All right. So that's mostly good except for just spacing issues. So let's see, items center, we don't need that. We actually need items end. So it should push that down. This doesn't really need that big of a gap, if any. And then we want text to the right. I mean, I feel almost entirely satiated. That looks good to me. Okay, so we've got the basic core design ready to go. We've got a couple things to do now. One would be to update these values. So we can either do this twice or we can do it once poorly. Let's see, can I? It's just not going to let me zoom out at all. Okay, let's pull this back up then. And now I've got this active state too. So here are active states, and the only trouble here is these are going to be invisible on mobile. Do they have showing you? They don't show you on mobile. They don't have it showing at all. Interesting. All right, so I guess if you're on mobile device, you're just screwed. You don't get to see how much you spent. So maybe let's change that up. Hey, welcome. Thanks for joining. So let's pull this up. And these active states we're going to be pulling from this data file, right? And this doesn't amount to this. So these numbers and these numbers don't have anything to do with this chart, really. I mean, they obviously haven't given us all the data, but I was going to say we could do math and like calculate that, but I don't think that matters. We do probably need to figure out how much these should be, though. Let's see. Rather than spending all of our time live loading that, I mean, because that's just parsing through data, looping through that. Not like that's a problem, but let's first of all get it set up, and if we really want to, we'll come back and do that. So let me split this and close that down. And let's come back over this way, and let's just add in, maybe just for the first button. So this button itself, well, I think what we're going to need to do is make this... So I think what I want to do is wrap this in a div. And the reason is because in Tailwind you can set up these peer classes to where when somebody hovers over this button or focuses on this button, I could enable some classes on the peer. And I think that's what I want to do. So let's come in here and I'm going to wrap this with abbreviation, and we'll just have this be a plain div for now. And then we'll set this to peer. And then next to this is where we'll have the little label, and see, that should be fine for our ARIA label. So maybe what we can do is set this to ARIA hidden, and this will be none or true, because the whole point is that if they just focus in on this, they'll already get all the info they need right here. So they don't need to also read. I'm thinking about people's screen readers. They don't also need to read how much they've got here. So we'll do 17.45. And let's see, let's set this to relative. And then this also needs to be moved up here to make that the flex one, I think. And then here's where we can add some extra styling. So we'll set this first of all to our neutral. Let's see, background neutral 1. Is that right? Yeah. And then we'll do text neutral 4, which is our white color, and text extra small. And let's do a padding of 2, maybe padding of 1 with rounded small and absolute. Then what we can do is we'll do top negative maybe 8, something like that. That's 2 rem. That might be too much. Let's see once it reloads. Okay. I think that's fine. And then what we can do is, this sure doesn't look like 2 rem. Oh, you know what? It's the top of this. So yeah, that is about right. And then we'll do left 1/2, back the other way. Is that right? Come on, CLI, you can do it. Why don't I use Chart.js? Yeah, I mean, we definitely could, but it's not that hard to do it in CSS. If you were gonna do obviously like actual live data, then yeah, live data, then you'd want to use some kind of library. But I'm trying to stick to kind of the basics here. But not a bad idea though. Let's see. I do want it over. There we go. Okay, it just wasn't working. And we'll do transform, translate x half. There we go. It still doesn't quite seem central though. Oh, that's not flexing properly. So let's set this, if this is a grid, it's just that that isn't stretching all the way. What happens if I do that? Exactly nothing. It's odd that it's not taking up its full amount. Let's leave it alone for now. And let's just duplicate this same idea all the way throughout. So now that we've got that set, let's get rid of these buttons here. All the way down. And I'll save that. Let's see. And let's get this whole situation figured out first. So let's take this flex 1 off. And that is directly in the middle now. The reason I made these buttons again is so you could focus on them like that. So you could actually get the readout. So that might have taken care of it just since they're all going to be the same now. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That should be right. And then let's switch up the content in here. And now I'm kind of wanting to live load this. Never mind. Let's do that. So let's set this. Let's give this an ID. We'll call this chart. I think we need a closing div tag there. Okay. Let's see. What else do I want to add here? I guess nothing too much. So let's come in here and let me just add an app. Let's just do app.js. And then let's pull this in up top here. So let's just do it here. So we'll do a script tag, and we'll make this a type of module, which will also defer after the body. Module, and then src. It's kind of out of order, but app.js. All right, and just to make sure that we got something working, let's console.log. Yo. All right, we are set and ready to go. Let me pull this over this way. And let's see, do I need this? Not for now. Let's close the sidebar too. Zoom in a touch, or a lot. Tailwind for a while. Sass is more deal. I think it really depends on who you work with. Basically, if you're working with a big team, I think it's helpful to have just some system that everybody agrees on. I think Tailwind can be helpful for that kind of stuff. But to be fair, I haven't really worked on a big team with Tailwind. So for me personally, I only use Tailwind on sites that I am rarely going to come back to because I don't want to have to parse through my CSS or Sass and be like, what was I doing here? So that's the only time I use Tailwind. Other than that, I write all my own stuff using Sass. Because I'd rather have a little bit more control and keep my HTML less cluttered. That's just my preference. But I'd only use Tailwind if it was some kind of project that I'll come to like every 4 or 5 months, and I don't want to have to figure it out every time. And I've got a bunch of tiny projects like that, so that's when I use Tailwind. All right, so let's call this chart L document.query selector, and let's look for the ID of chart. And then I'll do, let's just write a function called fetch chart data. And then this will be, set this to an async. And then let's go ahead and fetch this. And this will be from our data.json. And let's fetch this. Okay, so we get this promise that gets passed back. Excellent. And I guess we don't really need to make this async await because, let's await it and then do it. Okay, so there we go. So we got this stuff. Cool. And what I want is now, let's do the chart const. We'll do chart fetch, and this will be chart data is chart fetch.body. And then let's go ahead and grab this. Oh. I just deleted extra brackets too. Okay. All right. So once we get that back, let's say, I guess we don't really need to do a bunch of error handling or anything. Let's, let's do const chart data equals custom stats can be hard to manage for collaborating with others. Yeah, that's kind of been my experience. I've not done huge projects, but just, you know, people make a bunch of random mixins and then you're like looking up mixins constantly. Greetings, programmer. Welcome. And let's see, this needs to be json.parse. Did I do that correctly? Oh, come on. Basic fetch. Fetch mdn. It's really early in the morning here for me. It's getting later, but there are some times where my brain's just not quite working. What do I need to do? I just need the body back. Come on. You can help me out here too if you want. Just try to remember how to get the body from scratch here. This should not be this difficult. It's json.parse, and that's what I want is the body back, right? Font name I'm using is Cascadia Code. Okay. I need the response back because, of course, it's a promise. All right. Response.json. I gotta wait this too. Okay. Forgetting basic things in the morning with Chris. All right, here we go. Do you think it's going to be good practice to combine Tailwind with Sass? I don't know. I've never done that. I guess you could see it and let me know. Try it out and let me know what you think. All right, so we got this chart data. Let's have a function up here called... actually, let's make this a pretty easy function. It's going to make this an arrow function, but I think we'll make this a proper just function statement. So we'll call this generate chart item. And let's go ahead and just, we'll take in some kind of object. And this will have the day. For right now, I'll just pass in some item or something like that. And then I want to return in here all this stuff. So for now, let's just do this. We'll say chart data dot see, can I map over all these? And I'll just send each to the generate chart item. And I'm going to set my chart dot enter chart L dot enter HTML to the return of that, which means I also need to join it on nothing. They're stacking up, which is a little odd. Oh, it's because I have an extra closing div tag. And then this needs to have... Did I not copy over my div over here? Let's see. Where's my chart? Right here. So I don't think I did. So see, this actually needs to be my chart ID up here. And this needs to be part of the function. Okay, so now we should be good. Except I want to add this here. And then we'll customize this data, obviously, in a second. let's see, this button is the parent. And that goes there. And then we got a closing div tag. Does that look right to you? That looks right to me. All right, we've got stuff going on. That's good. Let's go ahead and pull up the JSON data. So we've got a day of the week. I've got an amount. So we will need to display that in our own way here. So each of those items, let's see, maybe I could add something else to that. Let's just change the data file. And we'll say Monday. So what I'm going to do is basically strip out the first 3 letters and lowercase them for the bottom section. And that way we're just dealing with one date here. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and Sunday. And then I'm going to leave these as numbers. We'll format that using a function. And then what I can do is take this item and see, let's just grab this section right here. And we'll say it's item.day. Let's see what's going on here. Let's console.log the item. Nothing is being passed in because I didn't pass anything in. Well, that's why it's not working. So let's do this. Do I want to map over each of these? So pass each of these. What's that thing called? Generate. Each of these I'm going to pass here. Let's come back up here. Console.log. What am I getting this way? I'm getting nothing. There we go. I originally was going to pass something else in here. I was going to create my own object. And I just forgotten about that. Okay. So now let's come back up here. Let's also grab this here. And we will change this. So we want the .day. Let's see. Can I tack this? I don't think I can tack that right on. .to lowercase. Let's see. Can I do that? Nope. Major hard pass on that. Let's go ahead and just grab. So let's create our own object. So like say days. Let's just do data equals. What I want is the day name. We'll set this to my item.day, and then I want my day amount. I'll set this to item.amount. Hey, how about that? Amount, and then we'll say maybe up top here. Let's grab an abbreviation, and we'll call this day name .to lowercase. What I want is the substring start number 0, end number 2. Let's see if we did that correctly. Well, it hates us, so let's do item.day. Let's get rid of that. .substring. Okay. And then I can just lowercase it once I get it in there, I think. So day name, let's do day name right here. And then here we'll do day abbreviation. Oh, I need data. Data.dayname. Okay. Things are happening. This needs to be 3. Thought that was... That's 2 lowercase. Can I do that? I just want to lowercase this thing. Do I have to wrap this? I don't remember. That wouldn't make sense, but... If you can think out of lowercase that, let me know. I don't think that... I figured I could just tack it on the end of that, but I forget. And then this will be our amount. So what I want is my day data.amount right here. So that's all different, but I want to actually pass it to a function. So let's say const, let's see, format money amount $2, something like that. And then we'll take our amount, and I don't remember how to do this. Format money amount currency amp script. Let's do JavaScript. It's an international format number, but I don't totally remember how to do it. Here we go. I think I've done a video on it before even, but let's grab all this. International format number. So I think what you can do is just, by default, it uses whatever your local area is. But let's go ahead and do this. Let's grab this dot format, and what I want is the amount. Well, let's see what this does for us. Text 2 lowercase. Oh, I just didn't spell it correctly. Hey, thanks. Dot. Actually, let's just do it up top here then. Dot 2 lowercase. Hey! Spelling things. Well, I mean, capitalizing things correctly. Thanks. Appreciate that. LEO7. Data amount. Let's go ahead and wrap this. And, oops. Thought I copied that. Format money to dollars. Well, that was disappointing. Let's look back at that then. That's just formatting numbers. I want currency. So I think I have to pass it this style object. And I think it's USD if I remember correctly. So format new international number. USD. Now let's try. Hey, there we go. Okay, so now these are being formatted properly. All right, so all that data is being pulled in live. Obviously, we got some problems with this not stretching to fill its full width, but we should be able to fix that. Let's set this to, see, the button itself is grid, but let's also set the whole thing to grid, and I think that should fix our spacing issues. All right, cool. Now the only other thing we need to do is set this height programmatically as well. So what we could do is say out of 100, and I think that would work in this case, but maybe what we should do, should we overcomplicate this? Well, yes. Yes, we should. Let's change up a couple things though. So this thing I only really want to show on hover or when you're on a mobile device. So you actually can do this now in Tailwind as of this week. I saw this, so well, I actually used this on that project that I showed everyone at the very beginning that's coming up. And if you didn't see it, sorry, but that was a sneak peek. So what we want is media. We want hover like that. And then I want to say only if that's the case, display or block. Otherwise, I'll have hidden. I think that's right. No, this should be hidden. Otherwise, this should be block. Still not true. Media hover. Let's check that. Detect touch device type. No, that's not what I want. Maybe it is. Hover none. Hover. I think I just need this. Let's see. Mobile touch. Thought that's how that worked. Let's look at Tailwind again. This is called arbitrary. What did they call this? It's in the announcement. That's how I saw it. Can I view the announcement? Where's the announcement? Blog. It's got to be here. Arbitrary variance. I think that's what it's called. All right, let's come over here, look for that. Arbitrary variant. Properties. Oh, come on. Well, what I was wanting to do is to detect this only on hover, or show this only when it's hoverable. At media, hover. I'm pretty sure that was how you did it. But now I'm doubting myself. So let me do something on my other screen real fast and look at a project I just did with this. Let's open it with something else. I apologize for nothing on the screen right now. All right, hopefully that should pull up and I can tell you what we need to do. Let's look for hover at media. That is definitely exactly what I just did. But for some reason, it's not working. So I did remember correctly. That's good. Let me just double check at media. Hover. Yep. Okay. So let's try this again with more confidence. So let me set this to like opacity 50, something like that. I'm pretty sure I have Tailwind 3.1 on here. Yeah, no, it doesn't work that way, weirdly enough, because basically what you're doing is setting up a custom variant here in Tailwind, which, again, this is new, this arbitrary variant. So it'd be the same thing as saying something like on hover, do opacity of 50% or whatever, which now that's also not working. Let's do hover hidden. Well, what am I doing wrong then? I wonder if this CLI is just not updated for it, or am I doing something wrong? Let's look at basic hover states. Yeah, so you should be able to go hover hidden, right? Unless I'm just... unless my brain's just not working. Hover. Hidden. I want to hide this. That's all I want to do. Let's set the background to like red 400 or something. Let me check. Did I... No, I didn't kill my build tool. Oh, well. Somehow it's not pulling this stuff in. Maybe... Let's see, this is being highlighted kind of oddly. Oh, you know what? I don't think I set up my... Okay. Here's the problem. I wasn't planning on doing this stuff to begin with. I was planning on doing it all in HTML and CSS. And so when I set up Tailwind at the beginning, Tailwind, I didn't point it to that. So it also needs to be pointed to app.js. And I think that will fix our problem, because it should be able to hover and stuff. So if it can hover, it should hide. Let's also just set this to hover background red 400 or something. Okay, so now that is working. All right, so that was the problem. Always check your inputs. So what I want is that if it can hover, I want this to be hidden. But it's not for some reason. So let's do this. Red 400. So on mobile, it should be the same color. On here, it should change. Well, it still doesn't like us. I wonder if the CLI isn't updated for it for some reason, because it was just this week that they added this. Well, let's not waste any more time on that. Basically, what I was trying to do is hide it on anything that wasn't hover. But what we can do is, let's just, can we do this manually? Let's just do what they did. If it's good enough for Frontend Mentor, it should be good enough for us. So let's kill both of that, and let me open back up. After that nice little diversion, what I was trying to do is basically say, hey, you know what? On mobile, you'd never, ever, ever see, here you go right here, you'd never see the values, at which point, you know, that's no good for people on mobile devices. So I was trying to make it to where when you're on mobile, it will show these always. And when you're on desktop, it'll only show on hover. But that's clearly not working. So, all right, let's get back to the project we were supposed to be doing instead of trying to improve upon it. And let me change a couple other things. So the first thing we need to do, let's kind of map out what we have left so we don't get distracted with shiny new things. All right, so we need to set the height properly for each bar. We also need to, we could animate each bar. We need to set color for the active day. I think I saw that at the very beginning. So that's why you've got one of those colors right here that is a different color, because it's whatever day you're on. Let's see what else we need to do. Get hover state working properly. So let's do these kind of one at a time. So this should be background exit 1 unless it's the current day. So maybe let's do this. We'll do set current day and set this to a Boolean. Let's see, let's just get rid of this for now and come over here. And is current day. And we'll set this to, I guess, a day name. We'll default this to Friday. Or what would I want this to be? I guess this could be Friday. And then what we could do is say, inside here, what we're checking for is we're going to get a day name. Is that really what I want passed in? I think so. And then what I want is const today equals new date dot get date. And let's go ahead and console log that. And then run is current day right here. Today is 10. Excellent, thank you. This should be get day then. Today's 5. Okay, so this is the 5th day. Then what I need is to compare that of week. So we got the days of the week. And we're just going to grab all these in an array. Sorry for you having to watch this. Let's see, we'll do... Does it matter which day it is? I don't think so. So we could start with either. So let's start with Sunday. Monday. I'd love to know where you're watching from. If you're sticking around today. It's early morning for me, starting to get a little bit later, but progressively waking up as the stream goes. So now what I want to do is compare... let's see, days of the week. I want to grab my today index. And actually, why don't we just grab this right here? Let's just console log this. So it's Friday. Excellent. So what I want is to know if I want to return if days of the week today is equal to day name. And now I should be able to grab this and say current day is equal to that. So what I'm doing is I'm basically returning out of here whether or not it's the same as the day name. I've got the days of the week listed here. I've grabbed the number, which is indexed 0 through 6, 6 being the last day of the week. And I think this is Sunday. It starts on Sunday by default. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gives us Friday. And that compares to the day name that was passed in. Yeah, so that's the console.log thing automatically happening, like grabbing this right here and hitting that. It's something called Turbo Console Log. It's a extension I saw James Q. Quick actually post about last week, which is super helpful. So let's come in here, and what we're going to do is say, let's do a little ternary in here. And we'll say current is current day, or just current day. Current day. If it is the current day, we'll say background accent 2. Otherwise, we'll say background accent 1. It did. Is not defined. Data. Dot current day. Well, that could have gone better. What I want to know is if this is equal to, if this is true. Right? Is the current day. That should only work. Oh, I got to pass the day name in. So we'll do item.day. All right, cool. So only Friday shows. And that's what we want. What else can we do? Well, let's mark off these. Color set for active day. Excellent. Set height for each. Let's do hover state working properly first of all. So let's set this to, I guess we'll just do opacity 0. And then we'll say hover opacity 100. Do I want to hover over that? No. Here's what I want. When they hover over the button. See, I actually want the children. I think this is another one of those arbitrary selector things I can do. So, but since we already crashed and bombed on that earlier, and it's new to Tailwind, maybe let's not do that. So let's just say, because they're going to hover over the date if they do anything. So we can do that. So what we'll do is say peer focus will be opacity 100, or peer hover will be opacity 100. This should be set to opacity 0 though by default. Hey, there we go. So now that shows properly. Cool. Hey, you're welcome, JF Handfield. Thanks for asking. So let's go ahead and transition that as well. What is going on over here? So let's transition that. So we'll say transition opacity. Right? And then let's maybe set the duration to like 300. Look at that. Okay, we did a second thing. We've got a few more. Let's set the height for each, and then technically that's probably done. We've taken our sweet time, but I don't know. I enjoy kind of having fun with these things and taking a little bit of time. Trying to figure out new stuff or just play around with it. This looks pretty similar, I would think, to that. So what we're going to do is just set the height. And let's write a couple functions here. So first of all, I want to get the max height of any item, which would be based on all of their item.date or item.amounts. So let's do this. We'll set a global variable in this file, and let's call it something like chart height. And right now we'll just set it to 0. And what I want to do is come down here in my fetch. After we do that stuff, or I guess it'd be before the inner HTML. I want to set my chart height equal to get highest, get largest number in array. Max, right? Yeah, okay, so just math.max. We'll do math.max. And what I want in here is an array of let's see what I want here. Can I just add those in as a string? Let's do this. So we'll do chart data dot map over each of those. Let's just do that, yeah. So chart data map, and for each item in the data, I want to return the item dot amount. And then my chart height here, I want a console log, and that should give me the highest value. Nan, awesome. So maybe I need to make sure that these are returned as numbers then. Nope, just not going to do that. So why don't we do this? You like the live coding? Hey, thanks. I think it's fun. I'm sure it's slower than it needs to be for some people and faster for others. So I'm not doing this to make money or make a name. I'm literally doing this to have fun, and this is what I do for fun anyhow by myself. So that's why I started live coding it, because I just like doing these projects because they force me out of my comfort zone and force me to have to remember stuff I haven't done in a couple of weeks, or sometimes a couple of months, or sometimes ever. So, so thanks for saying something. We'll do array, and let's just now do map dot. Let's just copy all this, and let's see what we got here. So I'm going to console log that and comment all this out. What I'm trying to do is just get an array with just those things as numbers. Where are we at? Let's get rid of all these things. I mean, that is precisely what I'm getting, which would be what I want. So maybe what I need to do now is just pass in my array. And it's still not a number. What is... I'm trying to remember how to do that. Parse number, JavaScript, parse int, right? Okay. Did I kill the thing, the one thing I needed? Still not a number. It's okay. Still not a number, even though now they're all integers, huh? I just want the highest one from that. Math.max. Let me know if you see something that I am missing. So I'm getting an array, and that's what I'm passing into this. Start something like this since beginner coding. Yep. Yeah, that's why I started doing it to... looks like I have to spread that in now that it's an actual array. Maybe. Hey, we did things. It happened. That was way too difficult. Should not have been quite that hard. Let's just leave it like that. That's fine. It's a little messy, but we could compress that more. So what I want is that, and then what I want to do is actually add 10 to it. And then let's console log it, make sure we're getting 62. Okay, we are. So the idea would basically be, and I guess what we could do is add times 0.1. So let's do that. So the idea here would be you're adding 1/10 of its height to it so that I have kind of a maximum that it can go up to, and then I can set everything off that number. So let's set that here. Okay, so 57.2, that'll work. Maybe let's make this like 0.15. All right, so hopefully this makes sense. What I'm doing is I'm saying, hey, I've got this array of items, which are just all my amounts, figuring out what the maximum is, and then adding to it a 15th basically of it as a height. So that'll be my maximum height, my chart height possibility. And then everything else can be percentage based off of that, which means now I can come up here and write a function that says something like generate chart height. I think that should work. And then I'm going to pass in a number to here. And then we'll return, let's see, what am I wanting? So let's say I have like 20. Can I just set that as pixels? I really want it to be percentage of that chart height. So I want like chart height. Let's math.floor it. So what I'm wanting is the chart height divided by whatever my num is that I passed in. I think that's right. Generate chart height. And then what I can do is come in here and add an extra item to our object. So we'll say chart height, or bar height, since it's for each of these bars separately, is generate chart height. And what I want to pass in is the item.amount. And let's see what that gives us. So let's maybe change this right here to bar height, just to see what that gives us. 3, 1, 2. Well, that's not what I wanted at all. Okay, so this would be like 50 divided by that. So what I'm getting is a percentage there, right? When did I start coding? Really actively, probably about 2 years ago. Which I don't think I've ever said until the last stream, but but I don't do it for a job. I do it for fun, and I have other jobs. But I found ways to work coding into those jobs. So sometimes I do it for work, and but only when I can convince my boss that I need to do some coding to help the company. And I've done a couple small clients, just like single clients with like maybe 4 or 5 things on their page. Or on their site, like 4 or 5 pages, something like that. Okay, it's hard for me to think without these numbers. So we've got something like 60-ish. That's our max. And what I'm wanting is to know what's the percentage, I guess, right? So what I want is to know is 60... I guess it's the opposite way around. No? Chart height? No, that's not right. Math live. I'm always bad at these kinds of things. So I want the number let's just think through this for 2 seconds. So what I want is the number itself. So 60. Let's say I have like 50, 52 for that number. And what I want to know is what percentage is 52 of 60, right? Is that what I want to know? I think so. And then I want to floor that and set that as my pixel value. Am I way overcomplicating this? Let's do this. Let's kill this. I think I might be way overcomplicating this, which I did call out at the beginning, so don't say I didn't tell you. Let's set this here, and let's just set this. Let's get rid of that and that. And let's come down here to, this was my abbreviation. What I want here is, let's just set this to an arbitrary value. This is my height. And I'm just going to set this to my day amount. Pixels. Data again. Math.floor. Let me make sure I know what I'm getting. Oh, you know what? It can't see this in Tailwind. So I don't need this. I just need to set this in line here. So we'll do style. We're already doing arbitrary values, so we might as well do this. We'll do height is equal to data dot day amount dot pixels, or not dot pixels, just pixels. Okay, something's happening. That's good. But now they're kind of funky. First of all, let's make these a little bit bigger. Why are these not going all the way down when they did before, and all I've done is change the height? Let's set this height back to 48 or something and get rid of this. And see what that does. Okay, so they're starting at the bottom there, but when they're different, so I guess I just need to align those differently in my grid parent. So this is the whole div grid. So we'll do items end. Let me see, let's just use the GUI. Grid right here. Nope, not that grid. I guess it has to be this outer grid. Maybe that's what I set up wrong. I think I actually did. Oh, it's a Flex container. That's right. So here's what I actually need to change. Right? So let's set the content to the bottom. Nope. Items to the bottom. There we go. So I need Flex end on the container for everything. So let's open back up our index.html page. Let's come over here to our chart right here. And here we'll go Flex end. Nope. What is that? Items end. All right. There we go. Can you share? Oh, yeah, I haven't done any of them and actually posted them there. I've just done them on streams and usually left them alone. Or I've got links out to GitHub stuff, but I haven't actually submitted anything. I just do it for fun. All right, cool. So that is mostly done. Let me list out a couple of things. So making accessible, which I think we did. So I don't think you're going to be able to hear this because I don't have my stuff hooked up, but let me turn on my voiceover and let's see if I can actually move this up. Can I move it here? All right, so let's Okay, you can see that reading out there. I'm hearing her talk. See, so you can see there it's actually reading out exactly what it is. So it's not reading out the Friday. It's not reading out this value. It's only reading out the ARIA label we already set. Okay. So that's what we're doing with VoiceOver. That's why I set the ARIA label over here to be like Tuesday's spending was whatever. And then this just needs to be the same as this down here. So let's copy all this and let's drop it in here. That way they can actually be distinct based on what they actually are. All right, cool. So the other things we could do, set height, we did that. Could we animate each bar? Of course we can. So let's set the height here. We'll do height as 0. Transition. Let's do transition all. Does that do anything? No, because it loads so fast that then this style gets dropped in right away. So that'd be a little trickier. I'm not totally convinced that the right idea here was to do buttons, but it does give us these focus states, which was kind of the point. Since we got these focus states, let's add a couple other things. We'll do a ring of like 4 and a ring accent. Oops. Accent like that. And we'll do rounded small. Do I need a ring offset? Not really. And this should be accent 1. And maybe let's do this. Let's take this same thing here, figure out if it's the current day, and we'll set the ring accent color based on that. So we'll say ring accent 2. This will be ring accent 1. And then actually let's switch this so that it's a little easier to see. And then we'll set this only on focus visible. All right, now we're just having fun, but so it should remove itself whenever the CLI gets around to it. Come on, there we go. And then when I focus in on it, it should give me that, which means I also need to set focus to outline none. So we get a nice little, there we go, animated state coming in. And you can see that because we set this to show on either hover or focus, it's also showing there. I guess that's a little funky with the button text coming down all the way down there, but I think that's fine. All right, I think that's basically done. I'm not sure we're going to do anything else of value here. I mean, we took our time today and did some extra stuff we didn't really super need to do, like generating a chart height. That was totally unnecessary. But, you know, we got to work on this and figure out what was going on with this max, so that's good. Let's see what else. Let me just list off a couple of things we could do. So let's maybe go back over this way. I think that's basically accessible. We've also pulled live data, so that's good. Normally you'd have some kind of delay there, so what we might want to do is set maybe set all this stuff ahead of time and just update the values. So let's make ourselves a little to-do list. And sometimes I go back and just work on these. I'll probably throw this code up on GitHub somewhere and just add it to the description here. And then I usually have what I call a community improvements branch, where you can go and update it and make pull requests and stuff just to make stuff look better. So let me do this. Let's do our to-do list here. And what we could do is animate the bar chart part, and then let's see what else we could do. Figure out showing labels only on mobile or on non-touch device, non-hoverable devices, which is what we tried to do a little bit ago, and for some reason Tailwind wasn't letting us. I mean, we could just do it in basic CSS too, but what else could we do to make this better? We could do a loading state for each of the bars. So assuming it takes a little bit of time, like a second or two for this to pull, and we could have these like kind of fake generated, just random amounts. That would be kind of fun to do right now. Don't get distracted. What's the rest of our to-do list? We could have the numbers like count up from 0. That'd be kind of fun. There's actually a way to do that in CSS too. So you have to use like Houdini app properties and stuff, but that would be pretty cool. Although because none of this is connected to this, because it's not real live data, I guess that wouldn't really help us too much. Let's see, we've already added focus states. That was extra. Also, if I focus on that and leave it alone, it'll stay there until I click another one. So I guess you still would get these on mobile. You just have to tap it, which I guess people would do. But it still might be nice to show it automatically. So yeah, if I come over here, go into mobile, and let's make sure I set this to touch, so it is on touch. I could still click. Yeah, there you go. You could still click and see those. So that's fine. But I still wouldn't mind figuring out how to show the labels all the time when it's on mobile. Anything else you can think of we can add to this? I don't think so. That's at least kind of the core basics. Maybe let's do this. Let's do a couple other fun things. And so we're officially done. But if you want to stick around with me, I'm going to do some other fun stuff. So let's set a background. Let's do a shadow medium here. I'll do my shadow color will be neutral. 1, 2, 3. Let's do maybe 2. We could go like a light color now. Let's do 2 at maybe like 70%, 50%, something like that. And then let's do the same thing up top. So we'll add that up here. Except I think I'm going to make this accent 1. And we'll make this like 20%. Maybe 40. So it makes it pop just a touch. Maybe let's back this one off to 40 and make this large. There we go. So that pops off a little bit. I think that's nice. What else can we do? Loading state for each of the bars, figuring out show labels, numbers count out from 0. A loading state. That was the one I thought might be kind of fun. Animate the total this month amount. Yeah. I think that's what I was thinking for this numbers count it from 0. So maybe let me put that too. Animate the total this month amount. That's going straight to JF hand field too. Thanks. This should be month right there. So counting out from 0 all the way to that. Should I try this loading state or loading state for each of the bars? So if we did that, we'd have to come over here and have like let's see. Let's await a sort of function up here that returns a new promise. So I think West Boss actually has await npm script that just does this. I mean, I think it was kind of more of a joke than anything, but you import wait from wait. Let's look at this is literally all the repository is like literally one line of code. He has a test though. Nice. Here we go. I like that. So we'll just grab this right here and we'll say wait, and we'll wait. Oops. Wait like 200. Are these seconds? 2000. So it should be milliseconds, right? So let's do that. And now it's going to wait 2 seconds and then load in. So that'll give us time to do some loading animation. So maybe what we should do, you know what we should do? We should get back that top value. Can I do that? What did I change most recently? Yeah, so let's pull this. So what I want is my chart height, because I've got to set my chart height already so that I don't get jumping stuff jumping around. And then what I'm going to do here is before I do that inner HTML, here's where I'll wait 2000. Like that. All right, so now everything should be the same. It'll load in after 2. Month. I thought I wrote month the second time. Month. Hey, thanks. Third time's a charm. So it should wait 2 seconds. And then it should come in, right? What am I getting errors? Chart height. Oh. Let's just set it right here. So I'll wait 2 seconds and it should pop in. Okay. So that gives us a chance to animate stuff already. We're going to create a lot more work for ourselves. I don't think we've got time. So what I was going to do is basically make these buttons separate and drop these in and just update the amounts and the sizes basically. So I already have them in the DOM, and then all we're doing is updating the sizes and the amounts. But then I've got to do a check to see which day it is and make sure it's the right day. So that would be the better way to do this. So for now, let's just let's see, how should we do this? This is a horrible way to do this, but let's go ahead and do this. So while we're waiting, let's go ahead and set this is so bad. So let's set a fake data, and what I'm going to do is basically duplicate this JSON document right here, which you definitely, this should not be what we're doing. So I've got all these, except I'm going to set these. Let's get a random number. Get random between, and we'll do between min, which will be 0, and max, which will be, I do need this chart height actually, so it'll be our chart height. Well, I could just pass it in. So we'll do like 60 or something like that, 50. And let's get random number between JavaScript. I'm sure I've searched for this before because there's no reason to rewrite stuff like this. And that's all I need. Math.floor. So what we're getting back is a random number between whatever these things are. So for each of these, we're going to do between 0 and our chart height. So does that make sense? So basically what we're doing is we're getting a random number, and that will be what we generate this chart with, this fake data. And then what we'll do, and again, this is not the way you should be doing this, is chart, just redo this up here. But this is the quickest way to do this. Fake data. So it should randomly generate, and then it'll switch to that. All right, so the other thing we're going to do is, because all these numbers are off, watch the replay. Nice. Hey, thanks so much, Vladimir. That's very kind. We have definitely been going beyond the scope and just having fun today. Let's make a ton of extra code that we don't need, but just because I'm supposed to be done and I don't have that much time, let's generate chart data. Let's generate fake item data. Way different. All right, and then we don't need this current day. Let's get rid of anything we don't need. So I don't really need this or that. Focus visible. I don't need any of this stuff. Current day. Don't need any of that. So what I'll do is do background neutral 2-ish. And then we'll do animate. Let's do animate pulse. And then what I need to do is generate fake items down here. Look at that. And then it snaps in. Kind of intense, but let's take each of these, and let's actually just grab the highest one. Because up here it's going to multiply it times 3. That's what we set it to. I guess let's set it to 2. Just make it a little bit smaller. And that way it'll snap in. So there we go. I think that's fun. Let's come down here to some of our extra code. Let's set this to like at least 10. Hey, you're welcome, Rushy. So I want this to be at least 10. There we go. Okay. So now it's pulling in and then snaps in that way. So it's a little jarring. 1.5. That way it shouldn't snap too much. Okay, so there you go. So while it's loading, basically we get a loading animation. And this would be assuming that you're pulling this from some kind of source. But now look at all this random code we've added that is totally unnecessary. So maybe it's more like a second is what you'd have, and then it snaps in. But it just shows you that, hey, something is happening. So you could also randomly have some of them go up and some of them go down. But I think that's good enough. All right, we've already played around too much today. I hope that was a help. That was fun to do. And we added some extra stuff, like this focus state. We added the live loading from JSON data. Really, this probably should already be in the DOM, and I should just be updating the amounts. That's how I should have set it up to start with. So I might do that later and just throw it up on GitHub. You're welcome to make your own contributions as well. I've got a busy couple weeks here, so this may not happen for some time, or I may never do it, but we'll see. Well, thanks so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed it and had fun with me today. And I hope you're enjoying the channel content too. Again, I just do this for fun. I've enjoyed it, and the fact that anybody watches is a nice little bonus. But hopefully I can be a help to some people too. I'm by no means an expert, but sometimes it helps to hear from people who don't know as much, because they explain stuff that otherwise would be left unexplained. And I'm sure for some of you I explain too much, and for others of you I don't explain enough. But that's the nice thing. There's so many great teachers. It's not like you're stuck with me or anyone else. I've often come back to other teachers later and realized, like, oh, they were actually super helpful. I just didn't realize, at the time. Anyhow, I hope it's been a help. But thanks, everyone, and thanks for your contributions as well. I hope you have a great day, and I will catch you on Tuesday. Thanks so much.